Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. So, we obviously have the Thanksgiving holiday coming up, and the Friday after Thanksgiving is a short trading session, so market closes early. Um, and even though technically tomorrow is a full day, so Wednesday is technically a full trading session, it is not uncommon to see volume start to dry up after lunch, so early afternoon. A lot of people start heading out, get away from the desks, start either traveling to where they're going for Thanksgiving, getting out of the office before crazy rush hour traffic. So it's really not unusual, similar to like other big like holiday weekends, to see the volumes start to dry up and the action start to dry up in the early afternoon. So um, what you really want, so two things along the same lines, and I have the chart of the cues up here, and what I think is really important the remainder of today, tomorrow, and Friday is to not be too aggressive with short-term contracts. Okay, so right now, and I'm sure you've seen it, or maybe this is just how you've gravitated towards options in general lately, but a lot of the volume is in weekly expiration, so contracts that expire in a couple days, right? Um, that's great when things are moving around and there's a lot of volume and a lot of volatility. It's not so great when there isn't a lot of volume and there isn't a lot of volatility. And right now, we're kind of drifting sideways without a lot of conviction one way or the other in the indices. And that can be a little bit more of like a challenging recipe for these short-term options because data is high, premiums erode very quickly, and also we're coming off a couple really volatile weeks where option pricing is really jacked up. So you have this combination of higher prices, higher erosion, and a lack of movement, and it really makes for kind of like a tough trading environment for very short-term options. So just be careful being too aggressive with short-term contracts because there's no guarantee that we're going to have as crazy of a week as we had the last few weeks. Also, along the same lines, focus on the names that are in the news or have higher volume. So there are still plenty of earnings this week. We had a pretty big morning this week, and actually there are still a couple names due out after the close today. So like an Autodesk, HPQ, Nordstrom. And tomorrow morning you have Deere reporting. So those are some names that are expected to move. Some of those names are pricing in pretty large moves. So um, you can focus on those. You would expect the volume to be elevated because they're reporting earnings. Also, pre-market, you'll see if there's any like unscheduled news, and that's really like my plan during like weeks like this where the overall indices might be a little bit more muted action-wise, but individual names could be moving on like headlines and elevated volume. And for me, like that's one of the ways where I try to avoid some of like the holiday drift, is just to really focus on those names that are in the news and have volume. And even then, though, really be careful getting too aggressive with short-term contracts because there's just no guarantee we're going to move this week because there are a lot of people away and/or a lot of people that might just not be super interested in going crazy with like a ton of positions. So um, once we get into next week, things will change, and as we get into December, even more so because we got a lot of big events coming up in December. So, just this week is about focusing, doing some like singles, doubles, and maybe playing a little defense, just not to get too aggressive before we get into December. All right. So, if you like this video and you're looking for more information about managing options or swing trading with options, please follow up the link in the description of the video for more information on options in play. Have a great night, stay well, and we'll talk to you all tomorrow.